after being down 13 and rallying back? Like, what did you see happen in that final minute?
Oh, the final minute?
Yeah.
They hit two really good shots. Really, the fade screen. You know, tough shot, sliding out, big guy hits a three, and then we actually even basically called the play in the huddle. It's what they did last time, that Brown would drive it, and we guarded pretty good. He guarded pretty good, and he threw up the little left-handed running hook. Those are their last 5 points, if I'm not mistaken. You know, we took the lead by 3 all the way down from 13 down. I was trying to get a timeout. I could not get our guys' attention, and I can't call one, as you guys know. You know, the refs have to call him. He heard me, and I'm screaming to get a timeout. But even with that, on the last, you know, second last, we had a .4 or something at the end. But second to the last, you know, we got a pretty good driving shot. It's maybe not exactly what we hoped, but I certainly don't blame anyone for that. But I could not get their attention as loud as I'm screaming. The crowd was loud, but give them credit. They, you know, they hit 2 big shots, a running hook shot for gosh sakes, to win it, and a 5-man popping out for a fade screen 3. That's pretty good stuff. But if there's a positive, which believe me it doesn't, I'm not feeling all that positive, but to watch the heart of our guys come back 13 down with not a lot going on offensively. We're having a poor shooting night, having a poor free throw night, which we've made, you know, a little bit of a norm. But to fight our way back when not a lot is going well, I was really proud of it. I thought their grit and their fight was incredible, and that's why it was such a painful loss, because they, you know, they scratched around that hard to take that lead, and then for it to end that way was pretty rough.
You mentioned the free throw shooting. How frustrating is it in a 2-point game to leave 8 points at the line?
Well, yeah, what are we, 50% from the line, and probably missed 3 or 4 front ends for the game. You know, I don't think at this point it's any secret that we've in a lot of close games, we've just not made free throws. And I can tell you this, there's a lot of things that you can debate, whether a guy, you know, went after a rebound as hard as he could, or, you know, ran the floor as hard as he could, but you never debate. Every guy's trying his best to make a free throw. They're trying their best to make a free throw. And I never fault that. I never, you know, it's sometimes pressure does that, and they usually even out in a long run. But certainly in our short run of a season, we've been not a great free throw shot. I'm surprised, because we're a good shooting team normally. We're a very good shooting team, and normally that equates to good free throws. But you can look back on some of our losses, and you could just say that was the reason. If you only did better in that area, you probably won 2 or 3 more games. But we didn't. So, you know, what's the difference? But hard thing to fix too. You know, we've been practicing them more, and if you talk about them too much, it becomes mental, and if you don't talk about it at all. So it's a very delicate thing. But I think that'll get turned around. I really do.
You mentioned not a great shooting night, and other than Shake Milton, your guys shot 35% tonight. How much of it was simply a night when the shots weren't falling so well, and how much of it was something specific that Temple was doing defensively?
Well, you know, I always hate to just be the guy that says we got all great shots and they did nothing. I think whenever you lose, you have to give credit. I don't care what happened out there in any game. If you lose, you have to give credit to your opponent. They're doing something right. Having said that, I thought we had a lot of really good open shots, honestly, that maybe we normally make, but that's going to happen. You don't shoot the ball well every night, and you've heard me say that I don't know how many times over the years, that the seasons are made when you don't shoot it well and you can still win. You know, we almost pulled this out with that type of a shooting night, with that type of a free throw night, and that's the mark of a great team. Unfortunately, we didn't. We got close, but we didn't. So I thought we got a number of good shots. I thought they defended well for sure. I thought they played an outstanding game. The game in the second half, as you well saw, turned into basically a small ball game, you know, and it was, I wanted to play our bigs, but the matchups were going to be too difficult. So your choice then is you can go out there and just really not have the matchups and make it, put your guys in a tough position. Kind of what we did last year all the time. You know, it's the way we played. And then your decisions, well, you can put them in, you go zone. You know, you can zone and you can hide people that way, and then you can play big at the other end. But, you know, in this game, it felt like, are we just going to, you know, the way we're going to win this game, to me, was to fight our way out of it. And not to say you don't fight in a zone, but there's just a different challenge when you're going man to man and lining up. And our guys did it. I mean, come on, they pulled a 13-point deficit to a 3-point lead in not a lot of time. Pretty incredible, pretty good stuff. And that, you know, among other things. And I know we never talked about the streak. You know, but we never talked about it. I know some of it. I'm sure they probably all knew. I never mentioned it once, but we all knew. And I think maybe they pressed a little bit. I don't know that, but you know, they wanted it real bad, and they wanted it bad for a lot of other reasons. So, you know, pretty painful locker room.
Coach, they tied the game with 54 seconds left. I know hindsight's 20/20, but how much would you have liked to have a legitimate 2-for-1 in that situation?
Yeah, would have liked to, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, always would like to in that situation. Yes, for sure.
Witt and Shiwar have had little, less productive games in the past three games. How do you see that going to Wichita State?
Well, you know, and Ethan was in bed with the flu for 4 or 5 days. Obviously missed the Tulane trip. Literally didn't practice the day before Cincinnati, and now is just kind of getting back. And so, to be fair to a freshman, you know, is that fair to say, gosh, why aren't you looking exactly like you used to? I don't know. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but those are the facts for him. You know, maybe Jimmy, maybe you know, confidence-wise or whatever, is struggling a bit because he was playing with an awful lot of confidence, and you know, you look at today, would have been great if a couple more guys had a good shooting night. But again, I never blame there. I only blame if they're taking terrible shots. I thought Ethan got some great shots for him, great shots, and Jimmy got some pretty darn good shots too. They don't go in. We miss some free throws, and the guys are trying to make them, and you know, and then I mean, you know, so many games do just come down when all the smoke clears, and when you shoot well, you know, you usually win. You usually win when you shoot well, but you got to find ways to win when you don't shoot well.
You inserted Elijah Landrum in the middle of that, the 13-3 swing. What did you see that made you want to put him in the game, and how did he perform?
He's been playing better and better, gaining confidence. I thought he played really well. You know, he played really well, I thought. Really, really well. In practice, he's been better and better. He's a talented young man. He really is. And again, we're playing small ball. So I felt like he's a good playmaker. He's really quick, and good to see him hit a shot, you know, and get a little confidence there. But he can make things happen. And I think over time, people will see that. So I'm hoping that, you know, our bench guys can continue to, and they're working hard too, by the way. Their attitudes are good. I wish I would have got Everett in the game. I certainly did not mean not to. But again, the whole, and Okoye more minutes for sure, Ethan more minutes, but the game, you know, became, we're behind, and they're playing small ball. And, you know, you can't ask great big guys to chase guards around and do that. So the choice is, do you zone or do you play small? And so we chose to play small, and actually it was, you know, it was working great, but couldn't quite finish.
When you look at these last 3 games, you mentioned the other day that Ethan and a couple of other guys had been under the weather. Cincinnati's an awfully tough place to play. Tonight, you had some offensive struggles. How concerned are you about the way the team is playing, or is it just one of those things where?
No, you're always, if you lose, you're always concerned. I mean, heck, I'm concerned when we're in it. You know, I think that's kind of your job. but yeah, we haven't played, we were playing very well. We're not playing very well right now. You can't say that we have. We showed great effort here and some other things there, and we controlled the game at Tulane for a good part without Ethan, and you could say all that, but you know what? We're not playing great, and so of course I have concern. And even if we were winning, I would have concern, but I can tell you when you lose, it magnifies your concern without question.